Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Sarah and I have been wanting to start a bookish vlog channel since probably February, but I didn't know where to start, when to start, and here we are. It was my birthday recently. My birthday is at the beginning of August, and I figured, you know what? I have a lot of books to haul. I did a little shopping for myself. I got some books from family for my birthday, and I figured it's a good place to start. Ideally, this channel is gonna have weekly vlogs, book wrap-ups, TBR videos, everything that you're used to with a booktube to kind of just getting to know me as a person. I really want this to be a community of book lovers, but also like everything else, everything else that's in my interest, because I feel like I have a lot of friends, but we're all in other states and life just kind of took us that way. And so I just want the idea of a community here on this channel to grow. That is my only goal with this, is to just meet people who love books and love cozy vlogs and hopefully like dogs, because you will definitely be seeing my two dogs in videos as well. So let's get started with my book day book haul. So we're gonna start with the books that my family got me first, and then a little bit of shopping that I did as well. On my birthday, I got a couple books, and then today I got a couple things from a bookstore that's local to me. Let's get started. So the first book that we have here is Lessons in Chemistry. This is one of the books that my dad got me, and I'm so excited to read this. This is going to be my first historical fiction book, and I'm sure so many people have read this, but it's essentially about a woman in STEM in the 60s and how she's treated and how far we've come, hopefully how far we've come since this time period. So yeah, I'm excited to read that. And then my mom got me two books as part of a series. So we have Off to the Races and A Photo Finish by Elsie Silver. So this is book one and book two. This series has already fully come out. These are just new covers, so I'm very excited. I read Wild Love by Elsie Silver earlier this year, and I fell in love with it. So I decided, I love her banter, and in Wild Love, it just reminded me a lot of the banter between my husband and I. And I was like, well, I've heard she does really good banter. Let's get these books. So my mom did me a solid and got me these two. I hope I love this series because I plan on getting the whole thing, but these are the only two of the new covers that are currently out. I think that the next one comes out in November, so I've got a while to get to these two before I have to buy another one. Right? All right. And then I'm so sad about this one because it got a little bit damaged on its way to me, but my mom bought me like 8 books and they all went in the same box thanks to Amazon, which is great. But it got torn. So I've heard nothing but good things about this as well. This came out in June, I think. It's possible that it came out in July, but I'm pretty sure this came out in June. Also, an author that I haven't read before. This is Summer Romance by Animal Monaghan. Everyone says that in their videos. I will look it up, I promise. Next time you see me talk about this book, I will know how to say her last name. But this is a summer romance about a single mom, and I've never read any single mom books before. And I've just heard that this is just so good and really like more than a love story. Like it's about just her life and how she thrives after things don't go so well, kind of turns them around and also finds love in the process. So excited about this one. And then my mom also got me The Clinic. So this is by Kate Quinn. I've never read anything by this author before either. So in all honesty, I haven't read a diverse amount of authors. I really got back into reading as something I did on a regular basis this year, which is also kind of why I have waited on finding the time to make these videos, because I don't know, I just was like, am I bookish enough? Like, will people like that I'm more starting out? Is that going to be okay with people? And the reality is we all start somewhere. So anyways, another author that I'm not that familiar with, but I thought this sounded so cool, so I put it on my wish list. So from what I understand, it's about two sisters. One has a addiction problem, I believe, and she goes to the clinic, a rehab center, and something happens to her, and the other sister comes to essentially say, hey, what you guys said happened doesn't make sense. Like, that doesn't check out for my sister. Something must have happened. Must be hiding something. And so I'm so excited to read this. I love mysteries. I love thrillers. I went through a long, like, podcast phase of true crime. I think everyone did, or most people that I know did. And even when I was a kid, like, my favorite show was Law and Order. So I love finding out why the person did what they did. And yeah, so hopefully I get a good time out of this as well. And then this is Long After We Are Gone by Tara Shelton Harris. And my mom got me this one as well. I really want to read this. I also really need to be in the headspace for this. So from what I understand, this is basically a story about a family who has this house that an ancestor purchased, I believe, maybe a grandparent. The parent has this house, and they are about to pass on and have kind of explained to their kids, like, keep the house, like, do whatever you can to keep this house. And I don't know much more than that, but a little bit of my own family history is that there's similar things to that. So we have family members who, when they were alive, they bought up land, and I've basically been told my entire life, like, never sell this land. Do X, Y, and Z with this land, but never sell it. Keep it in the family, keep it in the family. And because I was told that, my mom was also told that. And so I love that she gave me this book, and I really hope I like it so that I can then tell her to read it too, because I think that family tradition and what your parents or grandparents, or in my case, great grandparents wanted to stay in the family is important, but not to that future family's detriment. And so yeah, I love finding books that I can relate to, and this one is not going to be anything like my story, my family's story, but it's similar enough to something that has just happened in my own family. So very excited about this. I think I'm saying I'm excited about all of them. I am. I'm excited about all of them. So otherwise I wouldn't put them on my list of things to get for my birthday. So the next one that my mom got me was Caraval. So I gotta be honest, part of why I want to read this is all the hype, but also the series that comes after this. The UK covers are beautiful, and I know that's a silly reason to want to read a book. That's not the only reason I want to read it. I've heard great things, but that's definitely part of it. But I've heard really good things about this. I believe this is two sisters who go to a carnival called Caraval, and magic ensues, and yeah, very excited. There we go again. Very excited. All right, so this is the last book that my dad got me. He got me something else that I'm really excited about, but won't be here for a couple more weeks. So I'll show you guys when I get that. But it is not a book. So the next one he got me was Assistant to the Villain. This book, the two books that my dad got me, Lessons in Chemistry as well as Assistant to the Villain, are the books I thought my dad would give me off of the list, because this one sounds so like quirky and silly and fun, and that one is historical fiction. So that's just who he is as a person. Like, he loves history, but he loves just like weird, quirky, fun stuff. He just, yeah, I can't explain it better than that. That's just who he is. So I'm excited that he got this. So essentially this is about the assistant to the villain. So a woman becomes the assistant to like the village villain or the town villain, and everyone just says like he's old and he's hideous and he's terrible, and she goes to work for him and she's like, he's great. Like, I think he's great. And there's a little frog in it that holds up signs, I guess, when things go wrong. But I'm really excited. I need a romance that's different than just like we met in a bookstore or a coffee shop and we fell in love, and those are great too, and there's a time for those, but I needed something a little bit weird but still romance, and that's what I've heard that this is. I also love the sprayed edges. This is the only book I've ever bought with sprayed edges. I didn't buy this. And I'm really excited. I'm worried though, because I've seen a lot of sprayed edge books after you read them and they do not look good. However, it's gonna be like this on the shelf regardless. So it'll be fun while I'm reading it. Also, the second one of this comes out really soon too, and it also has sprayed edges. So if I like this, I will be getting the sprayed edge version of that one as well. All right. So last book that my mom got me. So after talking to my sister, I suspect that my mom got me this because my grandma really likes this author, which I didn't even know. I was just excited to read this because I have seen movies from books that this author has written, but never read any of their books. And this one in particular seemed like a good like gateway book into this author. So this is Stephen King's You Like It Darker. And the reason I think that this is going to be good for me to get into Stephen King is it's literally short stories of his. So I can read a little bit, take a break if I need to, read a little bit, take a break if I need to. Stephen King's books are clearly like some of the best books ever, right? I think that most people know that there's a reason he is so widely known and he's so popular. But all of his books, most of his books, are bricks. So to start off with a huge book from an author that I haven't read before just seemed too daunting. So I put this one on my list and I'm so glad I got it. This is definitely going to be like a September, October kind of book for sure. Get in the mood for kind of like spooky season, but yeah. All right, so now we are on to the books that I purchased myself. So we don't have a lot here. So we're gonna start with, let's start with the two that I got for my actual birthday. So I waited until my birthday to buy these books. I could have bought these books before my birthday, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna go to Barnes & Noble on my birthday and just walk around and see if there's anything else that I really want. And to be honest, there wasn't. And not that there weren't other books that I wanted, there just weren't any to justify buying after I got all these books from my parents. So I finished the first book in this series like the end of July. Like, I think July 30th is when I finished it, and my birthday is the beginning of August. So I was like, well, I have to get the next two, right? So that series is the Powerless series by Lauren Roberts. So I got the Barnes & Noble edition of Powerful, which is the novella that comes between the first and second book. This follows the main character of the first book's best friend and what happens to her while the main character is going through everything in her own story of Powerless. And I did already finish this. I sobbed like a baby. Like, we were actually going out to dinner the day after my birthday with some friends, and I finished it right before getting ready. And to be honest, I shouldn't have. I should have waited until we got home. I was crying like a baby for like 5 minutes after reading it, and oh, my dog's whining. Sorry if you can hear her. She wants to play. But I was crying like a baby because if you read this, you know. I'm not gonna do spoilers. If you read this, you know. If you haven't read Powerless, go read it and then read this and cry like a baby, because you just will. Like, it's incredible that I had a good idea of the things that were going to happen in this book just based on Powerless being about the best friend. And yeah, I actually changed my rating on Goodreads to a 5-star for this, because originally I put it at a 4. Honestly, it would have been like a 4.5 is what I was thinking. And the next day I was talking to my husband about it, and I was like, it's more than a 4. And he's like, well, yeah, obviously you cried for like a decent amount of time. It's clearly more than a 4. So I changed it to a 5-star. I think because it's so short and I could have used so much more of this story, I think the official rating would be a 4.5 for sure. But so close to a 5. And honestly, I rated Powerless a 4. I really liked that book as well, but this one made me cry. So yeah. All right. And then because I got that book, I had to get the Barnes & Noble edition of Reckless, which is the second book in the Powerless series. Both of these are the Barnes & Noble edition. So the main difference with this one is it's black instead of white, and then the difference with this one is that the flowers are blue instead of red. I just like the blue better. It's just such a pretty cover. The red is also really gorgeous, to be honest, but yeah, I didn't like that this one was originally white. Like, it just sitting them next to each other. I even literally sat them next to each other in Barnes & Noble to see if it would really bother me, and it did. It bothered me. So got the special editions of both. I have already started this as well. I haven't read it in a couple days. I'm on chapter 20, so about 145 pages in, and I'm really liking it so far. Everyone is saying how slow this one gets in the middle, and I am in that middle chunk. I'm not halfway there yet, but I'm in that like solid middle chunk, and I don't know how it's gonna get slow, but I could see that, like, just what they're currently doing. Yeah, it's probably gonna get a little slow, but I'm still so excited to read it. And so I hope that momentum stays because I've heard that the ending is really good. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers because I think I found one already, on Pinterest of all places too. But yeah, I'm so excited. But seriously, 5 stars. Will make you cry. And I don't cry that easily in books. So, okay, so now what I got today from Half Price Books. So they gave me like a 15% off thing. And I was like, you know, I don't really need anything. I don't really, there's some books that I want to get that have just come out, but they are hardback, and I'm not a big hardback book kind of person, especially when it's something that I know is going to come out on paperback. For me, it needs to be like in my head, hardbacks are classic books or they're really thick books, and these are just like fiction romance books, and I'm like, I don't want to read it in a hardback. So I only got a couple things. I actually didn't get anything that I was going in for. So if you're not familiar, Half Price Books is a store that sells used as well as new books. And when you first walk in, or at least to the one that's closest to me, they have new books, and it's only a couple shelves and a little display. So there's not a ton of new books. Most of the store is used books. And so I looked through the new books, saw the 2 that I am eventually gonna get, but don't want in hardback, and then saw this cute book that I was like, oh my gosh, that's adorable. I have to read what that's about. And when I did, I was like, okay, fine, we're gonna get that one. So that book is, oh gosh, it is the Dallargut Dream Department Store. I'm probably butchering that, but look at how cute this cover is. It is adorable. So it's translated from a #1 Korean bestseller, and I thought it was so cute. And I honestly, when I first saw it, I was like, it's the same size as Powerful. Adorable. So I might end up getting like a shelf of my bookshelf of just like tiny little hardbacks. I think that would be cute. Also, the irony of me saying that hardbacks should be big. I think that if they're adorable like this, then that's fine that they're hardbacks. But this is about a department store that each level is like a dream level. And so there's different types of dreams, and humans can go and like live out their dream, and animals can go and live out their dream. And the main character in this book is working, has just got a job at the department store. And I just thought that was such a cute little story. It's not very long. Let's see. Yeah, it's like 273 pages, and it's tiny, so they're short. So they're probably like 2/3 of an actual full book page. So I should get through this really quickly. I'm just excited. I typically read like romance, a tiny bit of fantasy, and by tiny bit, I mean like we're just getting really going with the fantasy world. I'm liking it, but we're just getting going. And a little bit of like thriller mystery. I'm so sorry if you can hear my dog. She's literally pouting over here. She literally, there's nothing, I'll show you. There's nothing wrong with her. She's just staring out the window. She's totally fine. But if you hear her, she's pouting. If you can't hear her, be grateful, to be honest. Okay, so yeah, this is just, looks so cute. It's beautiful. I don't care if I hate this book. I don't think I will because it's a bestseller, but like it's getting displayed somewhere. It's just so pretty. So then the next book that I got was because I saw the cover of the second book in this series and was like, oh my gosh, I love that. And I almost bought it before I realized that it was part of a series. So when I saw that Half Price Books had the first one in their used book section, I was like, well, I have to get it. And I gotta be honest, I haven't heard anyone talk about this. And I've looked up the score on Goodreads, and I think it's like just under a 4-star average. So it's not great ratings. But you know what? It sounded wild and like an adventure and something like I've just not read before. And so, yeah, we'll give it a go. And if I like it, then I'll go back and get the second one. I did read the description for the second one, and I think that they're interconnected standalones. Like, I don't think that you have to read this one to read the second one, but we'll see, I guess. So it is Hunt on Dark Waters by Katee Robert. So this is kind of like about pirates in like, it's a fantasy world essentially. And it's, if I'm remembering correct, the main character or possibly the love interest has telekinetic powers. There's like mermaids, there's vampires, there's pirates. Like, it just sounded like a wild good time. And unless it's just written completely terribly, I think it's just gonna be fun. It's also another relatively short one, I think. Let's see. Yeah, 317 pages. So another relatively short one. So yeah, I'm excited to read it. This is Pepper, by the way. She will be popping up probably in the majority of my videos because she cannot be alone. I do have another dog too. You'll see him as well, but she's the needy one for sure. And then the last thing that I got is a book journal, a book club journal. And I see everyone do their own book journals, and they're beautiful and creative and so cool. And someday I would love to get there, but I'm just starting out my reading journey and I just don't feel creative enough for it yet. So I got this. First of all, I thought that the cover was kind of cool. Like, it's just got kind of random things on it, but it's got like different things that you fill out, kind of what your thoughts are, the title, what kind of book it was, what format you read or listened to it on, which is cool. But yeah, I just thought that this was such a good way because it has like the prompts of like, would you read it again? Would you recommend it? If so, to who would you recommend it to? And then it has multiple different star ratings on the bottom. So it has everything from like writing style to plot to the personal impact that it had on you. And I really need that because I've read a decent amount of books this year, and there are some that I even liked that I'm like, well, what happened in that? Like, what were the main characters' names again? So I think that this will be good. I'm gonna start off with Powerful as the first book, since I did technically read that recently, just a couple days ago. And it's still very fresh in my head, but I'm not gonna go back and do everything that I've read this year because I think that it's just, some of it's just gone from my head. So that is all the books or book-like things that I got for my birthday this year. And I just want to thank you for tuning in. This is probably going to be a decently long first video. And I'm planning on doing right after this a reading vlog. And yeah, so stick with me, please. I hope you do. I'm not going to beg you to. I hope you do stick with me. At the very least, you'll be able to see Pepper every now and then, and she's a cutie who's currently all over me. So yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you again. Bye.